Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So today I just want to do a quick videos in regards to kind of why you should adopt some healthy coping mechanisms after divorce or after some form of kind of severe or abrupt breakup, even if you haven't had a divorce, and kind of why I believe in this. So I've mentioned in other videos and the relationship series of my videos, I've gone through a divorce. My separation happened in October of 2017, so the divorce process took probably about almost a year once the first initial paperwork got submitted in December of 2017. And the thing is, modern society is a lot different today than it has been in the past in terms of relationships. And divorce is definitely on the rise. I've read other stuff where it says divorce is actually going down with the millennial generation. I'm not sure. It seems like it's hit or miss. A lot of people are getting a divorce and breaking up, and then there's a lot of people who are sticking together for a long amount of time. But anyways, I remember throughout this last year, I've had a group of, friends or just people who are part of, I guess, my life in terms of friends or neighbors or acquaintances, and everybody just kind of seemed to just say, like, you should just go out and get laid, and you can go out and start partying and dating a bunch of people. And I kind of felt like this was not the most appropriate thing to do. One person gave me advice that after he broke up with his boyfriend, this is obviously a gay couple, he immediately downloaded a dating app to start to boost his ego and get confidence again. And so there can be some benefit to some of these things, but I think the reality is that most people need to heal themselves and really look within and heal themselves through healthy coping mechanisms before trying to reach out and get external praise through romantic love. Most people have some form of lack of fulfillment within themselves, specifically with self-love. Self-love is something that a lot of people don't have nowadays, and I think when you do go through a divorce or kind of an abrupt or severe breakups, finding some form of self-love is going to be very, very important in your health and healing process. And as I've mentioned in other videos, most women in reality are searching for love, affection, some form of attention or emotional connection with a man. I'm just talking this in terms of heterosexual relationships. And the thing is, most women want this. And the reality is, when you just go out and start hooking up on a dating app or just doing a bunch of random one-night stands, I really don't think this fulfills a lot of people. I think it actually causes more harm than good because you are doing those things driven out of emotion in terms of seeking some sort of attention or fulfillment within yourself. So here are some things that I think that you should do if you're going through a divorce or a breakup. I definitely think you need some sort of solid support system in your life. So the first thing is, I would definitely get a counselor. Individual counseling, I think, is the best thing one can do, but you can also do things such as divorce support groups or finding some sort of spiritual community where you can not preach your grief, but you can express your grief to people. I've seen grief support groups to walk the Camino de Santiago Trail. There's church groups. There's women's sisterhood circles that you can go to. So there are various communities that are available for you. The second thing I think you need to do is that you have to find some form of self-love and care. Self-love is absolutely essential during times of breakup, especially if you are the one that's left behind. Now, the most interesting part is that a lot of people tend to find self-love through very odd means, and I just think that comes through like getting drunk at a bar and getting attention, or starting to flirt with the guy at work, although he's married, because you're getting some form of attention. I don't find that healthy at all. So you have to find some form of self-love. This can come through a myriad of ways. You can write a list about all your great qualities. You can start to do something new, such as taking an art class or reading a new book. Whatever it is, whatever gives you joy and fulfills you internally, that does not come through external needs of fulfillment through another person, I think those are better options. I think you should also go through some form of self-discovery. Who you are today at your breakup or time of divorce is completely different of the person who you were when you and your partner first met, or you and your partner got married. For example, I guess the separation happened at the age of 32. I'm 33 right now. And when I met my ex-husband at the age of 23, I was a completely different human being. And I was also a completely different human being at the age of 26 when I got married. And so I think you need to go through some form of self-discovery in terms of what do you want in your life? What were certain things that you didn't get to do while you were married that you've always wanted to do? This time of being by yourself, of self-reflection, and of having all the time in the world to you, this is not only a good time to kind of recreate your life path and to really go through some form of change, but this is the time for you going through some of these new hobbies or new recreational opportunities that will give you some form of self-love. So it is kind of like this cycle where everything is a little bit interconnected in terms of doing new things, finding self-love, trying to reboost your confidence and stuff like that. I also think if you're going through divorce, you should connect with people who are on your same sort of alignment and moral compass values. Now, I kind of learned my lesson the hard way because I've always been a very accepting person. I work as a health coach and a personal trainer, so even the most successful and intelligent and educated people go through some form of struggle in their life, and a lot of them are really, they have their weaknesses as well. That's all I'm going to say. Now, when you are talking about some form of self-alignment, when you first re-enter the dating world or becoming single, you are a little bit driven through emotion. So it's really, really important to find people that are on your same level of being. It took me almost 10 to 11 months. A lot of this happened after I hiked the Camino de Santiago Trail, that I've started to reconnect a lot with some people from more of the Christian community, just because they're in more of the same alignment and the moral compass, and they have the values that I do. They're not going out and, flirting with someone's wife or husband. I've heard stories from every single different angle that there's so much temptation out there that I think during this time of healing, you need to avoid certain things that will start to pull you back into the darkness of your own mind and soul, and that you need to find things and people who are support systems that will help you. I've had a few Christians enter my life through this time who they believe that they were kind of, God sent them into my life to help keep me on this path without reverting backwards. Because the reality is, when you do go through a divorce, I obviously have been out of the dating world for about 10 years at the time of my separation, and it's completely different today than it was 10 years ago. But my point is that when you re-enter the single world, it is like going back to college. But the reality is, when you go back to college, you don't want to go back to how you were in your mindset at 18 to 22. Hopefully that you've grown enough and matured enough through your life experience that you can make better choices. And there are a lot of people who are stuck and struggling in their life, depending on what age you're getting divorced. It doesn't matter if you're 28 or if you're 58. There are definitely people who all they want to do is drink or hook up or really not do anything that has substance in life. It's really important to be guided by and to surround yourself with people who have your best interest. That's what I'm going to say, especially when you start working and connecting more with the opposite gender. There are a lot of people out there, men-wise, obviously I'm a woman, who kind of see divorced women as prey, and they will do whatever they can to kind of get into you. And that is where you have to have some form of boundary and realize that this is not a healthy friendship or a connection or anything, because it's a tough world out there, and you can either be a predator or the prey, and you have to really protect yourself in terms of what people's intentions are with you. I think new recreational hobbies is going to be a really good thing for people to discover. If you're not into like the outdoors or sports or fitness, you could do anything from arts to music, whatever it is. You have to have some form of independence to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. You can't have codependency on a lot of support systems when you're going through a divorce. You can't be just codependent on your mom or your dad or your siblings or your best friend or your counselor. You have to be able to handle your stuff while being able to walk forward and move into a better direction in your life. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be emotional roller coasters and ups and downs. But the reality is you are in the driver's seat of your life. So you can either choose to be stuck or to move forward. And I've seen a lot of people after divorce. Some have been divorced or separated for 3 or 4 years, and they're still scared to go out and make new friends. It's because they're too shy or they're afraid of rejection, of putting themselves out there. Trust me, everybody goes through this. When I was married, my ex was we were both very extroverted, socially butterfly type people, but he was definitely much more aggressive in terms of being able to make and establish a friendship base. So I kind of followed along. And those first couple months of putting myself out there and learning how to have to be social again on my own and in a mental space where I wasn't really that comfortable of talking to people, that was so frightening. But the reality is I had to do it. I could either sit in my apartment by myself and do nothing and self-loathe and self-pity myself, or I could go out and try to reconnect with people, either past friends or try to make new friends and try to do something that was better for me, better for my social life. So I think at some point we have to overcome some of these fears by putting ourselves out there. And trust me, now that I'm a year into this, I have zero problems approaching people. I have zero problems talking to people. I'm still a little bit shy the first 1 or 2 times of going into a new community, and that's normal. But the thing is, I'm not scared, and I'm not sitting there freaking out mentally in my mind when I go to a new group or to a public speaking event and I'm kind of afraid to talk to somebody. I choose healthy coping mechanisms. I can do this sober without alcohol in my system. Not a lot of people are like that, but I think that comes and roots back to your mindset. What you think and believe in your mind is what you will believe. So if you believe that nobody's going to like you, it's probably going to happen because you're going to self-sabotage it. So these are just some thoughts and advice that I have in regards to finding healthy coping mechanisms. I really do not think that going out and just getting wasted and going partying is the way to heal. It actually, what it's doing, you're sweeping your problems under the rug, and then you're just collecting more dust and junk on top of the rug without vacuuming out the cobwebs, basically. So you will go through a phase where you probably want to go out and party and meet people and stuff like that, and that's fine. But the reality is most of this is driven through emotions and some form of special attention that you're trying to seek. I think that's a big part of our social media culture out there. People who are chronically posting selfies and have to get this self-praise. We are in a society where we are valuing our self-worth based on what other people think. And at some point, you're going to have to try to overcome that. I understand that mindset because I was once there many, many years ago working in the fitness industry. You kind of had to be popular and loved by people in order to kind of succeed. That was part of the game in that world, which is why myself in the fitness industry, somehow we've split paths to some degree. But Self-fulfillment comes from self-reflection and really trying to get yourself into a better space mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So these are some thoughts I have. Feel free to, sorry, oh, my little text thing. Feel free to leave some comments or maybe have some questions below. Write them down and I will answer or respond as needed. And if you can, please subscribe to my channel if you feel, or please help me build this channel. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.